The Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake by Bethesda. I wonder if they're gonna somehow mess this up, honestly.
At this point, we've heard from multiple reliable sources that Bethesda Game Studios will be releasing a remake of The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and it's looking incredibly likely that you'll be playing this in 2025. This rumor's been around for a while, but just this past week, things have been heating up once again, as it now seems like there's a real chance you could be playing a remastered Oblivion in a couple of months. Although,
This is gonna be wild because Oblivion is one of those things that I honestly wonder if it's gonna fail, even if it's actually good. Because Elder Scrolls Oblivion, I did not play Oblivion. I played Morrowind. And as a kid, Morrowind did not make sense, okay? Why am I swinging a sword and I'm not doing any damage to an enemy? Well, it turns out because there's hidden dice rolls. And I'm wondering if Oblivion is gonna be the same. Are people actually gonna like playing it when they don't even understand the mechanics behind it, that there's hidden dice rolls if do you even land a hit or not? Now, granted, I don't know if Oblivion had those mechanics, but I'm kind of willing to bet they probably did. So yeah, I wonder if this is one of those situations where it's gonna not really be too successful. Now, the people who still play Oblivion and like it are probably gonna love a remake of it. But in general, will it be successful? I'm really tossed on this one, boys. What do you think?
it probably won't be the type of remake that you're expecting. This Oblivion remake or remaster is one of the most leaked games coming from Xbox right now, and the first leak came all the way back in July of 2023. And even from the onset, this one looked promising. It was based off this quickly deleted Reddit post that wasn't even just leaking Oblivion, but rather leaking several games currently in development by Virtuous Games Paris from someone claiming to be an ex-employee of the company. First, there's the Alter Project,
Well, Paris sounds bad.
which is the remaster slash remake of Oblivion. The discussion for it being a full remake are still ongoing. It is done currently using a pairing system, so it means that the remaster is running using both an Unreal Engine 5 project and the old Oblivion one. For instance, new graphics are rendered in the UE5 project, but most of the gameplay, physics, etc. is still done in Oblivion. It should be
Yeah, this is what we heard previously, so this does seem like it's true. Because, if you're remaking everything in Unreal 5, you're kind of not remaking it, you're making effectively a new game.
release end of next year, that being 2024, slash early 25, depending mostly on if it's a remake or remaster. It is mostly done in Paris, but Black Shamrock also helps the studio for the art. And while for some of you this may sound really weird, a remake of Oblivion using two engines, that's just bizarre. In reality, a lot of what is stated in this post does immediately pass the sniff test. Because, yeah, remaking games using two engines is an increasingly common thing in gaming right now. Basically because you could just make the game look better, but it still feels exactly like the original. You're really just remaking the visuals. Or at least you can just do that. I dug
Yeah, I mean, most of us already know that this is a thing.
way too deeply into this when this rumor first popped up, and what I found was that a lot of these remakes would basically have people going through and remaking individual game features. So like let's say you felt the combat of Oblivion felt way too outdated, you could remake that, but leave most of the questing as well as dialogue completely untouched, so it's basically the same as the original. And that studio of Virtuous Games may also sound familiar, as this is the team that literally just helped with the Cyberpunk 2077 patch 2.2 update. They're basically a giant outsourcing studio that helps with game development and have already
Yeah, that was
worked
strange.
with Xbox on the Outer Worlds. But at the end of the day, this is just a random Reddit post, and this user even
Am
deleted
I the only one who did not notice that was 480p?
their entire Reddit account shortly after making this post. But where things got more interesting is what happened next. Before deleting their account, this user verified their identity with the mods of the Gaming Leaks subreddit, and these moderators did believe that this poster was in fact an ex-employee of the company.
Now, to be fair, the people on Reddit are not the smartest people around. They're fucking retards, actually. And the people who are mods on Reddit, aka mom, listen. I know I'm 40, but I don't have a real job, but being a Reddit mod is serious business, okay? Oh Jesus, I hate Reddit so much.
based off what was provided. At the time of this post, I reached out to the mods and they told me that they had seen some identifying paperwork from this poster, and even further, they could cross-reference that paperwork with online sources that matched up saying the same thing, so they can make a connection on the person's name, location.
Bro, cross-referenced a paper through online sources? What if that person made the paper based off of those online sources? What then? This is why I hate Reddit, and anyone who uses Reddit is delusional.
As well as some of the dev work that they had done. It's not like it was just a haphazard NDA that looked legit. No, there was actual things being provided here that were corresponding with other things you could find online. And even Nate the Hate, or Nate Drake, another veteran insider, backed this up on Reset Era, saying, "I know Oblivion was shopped around but was never certain where it landed. Guess this answers that." So right off the bat, this is pretty huge. You have two completely separate sources with some degree of credibility claiming to have heard about an Oblivion remaster or remake at some point.
Listen, okay? I can tell you that they're remastering Diablo 1 at this point, and 2 years later I'm probably going to be vindicated because they most likely are going to do that. Every old game that has had a fan base is getting a remaster at this point.
But then, just a couple of months after all of this went down, we got perhaps the best confirmation yet, as during the FTC trial, a Microsoft lawyer uploaded a document and didn't realize that in the attachments of that document was Bethesda's entire internal roadmap from when they were in negotiations with Microsoft about being
You gotta love lawyers.
bought out. And that's an important clarification here. This roadmap leaked last year, but it's actually pretty old, being made around summer of 2020. But on this roadmap, you clearly see that an Oblivion remaster is listed as a planned release from Bethesda down the road. And of course, this is also the source for that Fallout 3 remaster, but a bit more on that a little later in this video. But then everything stopped. This all happened around Q3 and Q4 of 2024. But then a full year goes by. We get another developer direct, we get the summer showcase, and even the Game Awards 2024, and there is never another mention of that Oblivion remake. Bethesda never brings it up, and something I was keeping an eye on is even insiders were really never saying anything. As we're getting to the summer showcase with all of these random leaks.
Oh, is this the picture where you can clearly see that Todd Howard is struggling, even on stilts, to be above 5'1"? Dude, that's the only thing I know about the Game Award. Beautiful, love it. Todd Howard, you are a jewel of shit.
Leaks coming out and never really mentioning this, I was honestly half convinced that—
Look at that! Emma Parnell is higher than Todd Howard. Emma Parnell probably is the exact dick-sucking height for me, okay? Not gonna lie. Breed and be gone. Mostly because she's British. Jesus Christ, okay? First, I wasn't sold on Emma Parnell because clearly Moses split those eyes apart for a crossing. After that, I kind of got accustomed to it. And then it turns out she's British. Sad. Sad. And she has tattoos. Sad.
The Oblivion remake may have just been scrapped internally until a few days ago when a familiar face popped up again.
But I mean, I still fucking would.
As on a post on Reset Era, this being from just before the Game Awards, Nate Drake popped up again to confirm in another comment that yes, Oblivion is definitely still in development and will see a release. He reiterates this a second time later on, just flat out confirming that yes, this game's being worked on and it will come out at some point. And he wasn't even the only insider talking about all of this, as just a few days later on December 14th, in the same exact thread, Clobriel replies to a post about Xbox Game of the Year games in 2025, what will potentially be a contender, and he mentions the potential—
Well, I remember. Some people were surprised that Black Myth Wukong did not win Game of the Year. But you need to understand, there is no way Game of the Year is not going to pick anything that's not Sony or Xbox. It's just not happening. Who do you think pays those losers?
remake a game of the year from Xbox. And while, yeah, of course, that could be anything, the timing and what else is going on makes me seriously think that he's talking about Oblivion here. Although in fairness, Clobril may not actually know that much, as for his 2024 predictions, he guessed that Oblivion would come out in summer. So at least at the end of last year, he didn't know much about what was going on with
Yeah, I could be an insider leaker. I can make shit up.
this game. Except the funny part is, with a lot of this recent discussions around Oblivion, it doesn't reference really any of what I just said, particularly some of the more recent comments. I think that Nate Drake comment from a couple of days ago is one of the most damning things. But in reality, the reason you likely heard about this Oblivion remake leak in the past couple of days is due to Xtasis. This is another insider as a part of the Spanish community. Some of his leaks do make it over to the English side, but an important disclaimer here, this insider is significantly less reliable. But in a recent video, they speculated that the Oblivion remake will be properly revealed for the first time at the Xbox Developer Direct in January. This of course getting a ton of reporting on what really spurred this rumor this time around. Although honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Xtasis
Dude, I can't wait for the next Xbox line of games that's gonna fail. Remember the good old days when the 2024 Direct happened and we knew what's gonna happen? Hellblade, disaster. Starfield, disaster. Indiana Jones, disaster. Oh my god, there were so many blatantly visible disasters.
is basing all of this off this post by Nate Drake in the first place. But either way, at this point, just due to the sheer number of people claiming to know something about an Oblivion remake, this all feels real to me. Like, we're not just seeing one random 4chan post.
Yeah, I know about Oblivion remake. Trust me, bro.
Or one insider saying they heard something. We're hearing from multiple different sources, pretty much all lining up with the same thing. That yes, an Oblivion game is being worked on, and some people are saying that we're going to hear about this.
The only thing we can say for certain when it comes to Bethesda is that Fallout New Vegas is never gonna get a remake. Oh no, it's never gonna get a remake. Todd Howard is gonna fucking burn the world before that happens.
In 2025. And this game popping back up in discussions again after basically having a year of it not really being mentioned by insiders much makes me think that it is approaching release, and internally there's more talking happening, and in turn there's more talks leaking. And yeah, this just kind of makes sense. If this is a 2025 game, which mind you, that original leak did literally mention that 2025 was a release date if they were going for more of a remake route, 2025 really only has two major events for Xbox. The game would either be revealed at the Developer Direct in January or the Summer Showcase in June. So looking back at that Xtasis leak, he kind of has a 50-50 shot if he thinks this game's coming out in 2025. The theory I've been running with for over a year now, and I've mentioned in several videos at this point, is that Todd Howard will finally get his short announcement to release Wish with this game. So this all came from a past interview Todd Howard gave where he basically talked about how he really enjoys these short marketing cycles for their games. Bethesda typically has roughly 4 months where we see the game for the first time in June, but then actually get to play it in November. And despite Bethesda having one of the shortest average reveal to release times in the entire gaming industry, Todd Howard actually said,
honestly, props for Bethesda with that, because man, they lose so much money on their failed game projects. At least they don't spend too much on marketing, okay?
He wanted it to be shorter, but marketing wouldn't let him. But now as we're looking at this Oblivion remake, that could all come back full circle.
By the way, some of you probably think I'm gonna say marketing didn't let Todd Howard. How can that be? It's probably true. Marketing in businesses has unreasonable power, even though almost everyone in marketing on average fucking sniffs glue as a hobby. And I'm not joking. Listen, I have dealt with these marketing people for companies that have 2 or 3K employees or more. They're all fucking retards. They're all complete brainless and dead inside. Okay, I literally had a girl who was the second most highest person in the marketing division. Now the fun part, the reason she was the second highest person in the marketing division was because the head of marketing fucking banged her. Obviously, but it's not like she was dumber than the average marketing person, because again, all of them sniff glue on average. There was a situation where we did a marketing campaign for a thing, and that thing sold 50% below the lowest expectation. Complete fucking disaster, obviously. And she's asking me, is this good? And I'm like looking at her. We were playing volleyball at the time. I'm looking at her and I'm like, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that's pretty bad. God, I hate marketing. I hate marketing so much.
The Developer Direct is at the end of January, and it could set up for a phenomenal March 20th release date to commemorate Oblivion's 19-year anniversary, which is on that day. So just generally speaking, this feels like the perfect release date for this game. It'll be over a month after
I don't know how old I am. I need to constantly Google that. How the hell am I supposed to remember how old a game is?
This release, but also way before the Outer Worlds and Fable come out later in 2025. And of course, it would make it just a 6
Ooh, Fallout 3 remake. Again, Fallout 3 is happening because that's Todd Howard's grand opus.
Did have one more comment worth highlighting. First, when asked about that leaked Fallout 3 remake, he does say, I know very little, so I won't speculate or comment on Fallout 3. From what I've seen, the only two sources for this Fallout 3 remake are the leaked roadmap and then Nate Drake saying something occasionally, this being one of the best examples. You definitely could read way too deeply into this to argue that Nate Drake saying he knows something, literally anything, about a Fallout 3 remake could potentially confirm that yes, it does exist. He's saying he knows very little, not that
But we know that this exists. What else are they gonna remake? Fallout 4? No. The original games? Todd Howard's not gonna let them. But, you know, dude, a Fallout 1 and 2 remake would actually be so goddamn prime. God, it would be good. But Fallout 3 is obviously Todd Howard's little baby, and New Vegas is never getting a remake. As long as Todd Howard breathes oxygen, or whatever lizard people breed, he is not gonna let that happen. He was so proud of 3 when it happened. It was his baby, his child. And then New Vegas came out and completely destroyed him. And since then, as any short midget does, he has a vendetta.
Knows nothing. And honestly, if this Oblivion remake releases and sells
I love how he's fighting and then he's looking, oh, look at that, skooma bottles.
Even decently well, I think the Fallout 3 remake just makes way too much sense to not do. I mean, we know for a fact that at some point this game was planned by Bethesda, and honestly, it could make more sense now, more so than ever before, to start releasing some of these remakes for two major reasons. Bethesda said
because everything else you have released has failed, crashed, and burned, and everyone hates you. Even when you release something like Indiana Jones, that's a 5 out of 10. Probably sold barely 150,000 copies. It's because your reputation is so bad, okay? Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, that was Juicy Head. He was juicy, 10 out of 10. Bye.